Oh, Pacific Northwest. Okay, Washington. Cool. Okay. That's exciting, Beelan. Okay, so I'm gonna get started here right away. Does anybody have anything specific that they look at this? Look at this, go, guys. Does anybody have anything specific that they want to go over in today's class? Anybody struggling with anything? I prefer to do more of an interactive session. You know, a little bit of Q&A. But if you guys don't have anything specific, then I'll just go through some of the core curriculum I have here. I'll just give you guys 1 minute to type up anything, and then we'll get started.
Whatever your potential clients might be using, it's the best way to really impress them with your work. If you're interested in checking out Squarespace, go to squarespace.com/Tony, get a 14-day free trial, and if you love it,
oh, that's awesome, Beelan. Gonna be an uncle. Congrats to your sister.
It's not historically noteworthy. It's fantastic, but it's just incrementally better than the end of 2019. We also end the most important decade in the history of photography. As we look back, there can only be one camera of the decade. Our camera of the year was a Sony A7R4 with its 60 megapixels and amazing autofocus. But will it be the camera of the decade? Find out in just a minute. This picture of this podcast is brought to you by Squarespace. If you need a website, domain, some kind of online presence, Squarespace is the place to go. They make it easy enough so that anybody can do it. Even if you can't make it look fantastic on mobile devices, computers, whatever your potential clients might be using, it's the best way to really impress them with your work. If you're interested in checking out Squarespace, go to squarespace.com/Tony, get a 14-day free trial, and if you love it, only then do you have to give me your credit card number. You can use the coupon code Tony to get 10% off. Thanks, Squarespace. A7R4, it is amazing, and the readers of DP Review picked it as their camera of the decade, but I'm not giving it that. It's not historically noteworthy. It's fantastic, but it's just incrementally better than the cameras that came before. And we can't pick the camera of the decade just based on megapixels or image quality, or we would just be giving it to the most recent, most expensive camera. Sorry, Sony. The more historically significant camera is this NX7 that launched the E-mount, the mount that would take over the camera industry and become the #1 best-selling mount, displacing companies like Canon and Nikon, who'd owned the industry for like 60, 70 years. Yeah, this NX E-mount camera changed everything, but it's still not the camera of the decade. This Sony A9 was far more important. It made us realize that mirrorless wasn't just for bridge cameras, but mirrorless could actually be better than DSLRs. They could focus faster. They could make mirrorless cameras with no viewfinder blackout that work silently. And camera of the decade just based on megapixels or image quality, or we would just be giving it to the most recent. Or you can use the coupon code Tony to get 10% off. Thanks, Squarespace. A7R4, it is amazing, and the readers of DP Review picked it as their camera of the decade, but I'm not giving it that. It's not historically noteworthy. It's fantastic, but it's just incrementally better than the cameras that came before. And we can't pick the camera of the decade just based on megapixels or image quality, or we would just be giving it to the most recent, most expensive camera. Sorry, Sony. The more historically significant camera is this NX7 that launched the E-mount, the mount that would take over the camera industry and become the #1 best-selling mount, displacing companies like Canon and Nikon, who'd owned the industry for like 60, 70 years. Yeah, this NX E-mount camera changed everything, but it's still not the camera of the decade. This Sony A9.
Nobody's got nothing. Okay, guys. Well, let's jump into some support and resistance then. Okay, so we're gonna start things off actually with a little bit of an analogy. I want to give you guys kind of a visualization to go through here. What is this playlist? Alright, so let me find a bit of a better chart to do this on. Okay, this one's a little bit better. Give me 1 minute here. I'm just going to draw out some levels for you guys. Okay, this isn't going to be exact. I just want to draw these up for the analogy's sake. Anything in the chat? No, okay. So what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to visualize a skyscraper. Okay, oops. Okay, so I want you guys to visualize a skyscraper, but we're going to look at the skyscraper basically from the side, okay? Not from the bottom, not from the top, but from the side. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut it open from the top to the bottom and open it up like a book, okay? And then what you guys are going to see when you open up that skyscraper are all the different levels, okay? All the different levels to the skyscraper. So if we're looking at the markets in the same way, okay, we'll look at the markets like it's a skyscraper. So this would be the floor of the level 1, right? And then this one here, this would be the ceiling of level 1. This would be the floor of level 2. Okay, the ceiling of level 2, and so on and so forth. So the market's going to move through these levels in the same type of way. Okay, now obviously support, pretty simply put, is an area that holds price up, right? So right here, we can see that the markets use this level as support. There wasn't enough strength for the sellers to push it down, right? We had this big impulse move. The market hit this area, and it couldn't go up any higher. Okay? Now, of course, resistance, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. So right here, we can see how the market tried to push up to this area. Okay? Couldn't break it, and then bounced off of it. Okay, so when we're looking at this, one of the things to keep in mind is that what was once a floor can become a ceiling, and what was once a ceiling can become a floor. Okay, so for an example, right here, okay, we had a floor, right? We had support right here. The market broke under it. There wasn't enough strength to keep it down. But over here, right, we can see where we had this break, and the market did actually respect it as resistance. Let me find a better example. One that respected a little bit truer. Okay, so right here. Okay, now I've drawn these levels with these horizontal lines, guys, but it's more of a zone, okay? It's not exact. You can't get perfectly precise in the markets, okay? So, right here, okay, we had this level right here. It's actually happening again. Bouncing off of this level right here. Okay, where we had support right here, the market broke underneath it, and then bounced off of it. So if we look at it on the other end, it's a little bit easier to visualize. But right here, okay, so we had this ceiling, right? We broke below this. If we're looking at it like it's a level, right? If we're looking at price action like it's a bouncing ball, right? The bouncing ball breaks through this ceiling, hits the next ceiling, then what's it going to do? It's going to come back down and bounce off the floor, right? Kind of bounces between these two levels until there's enough energy, until there's enough momentum to break it through. Okay, now one of the things I want to show you guys too with support and resistance is how far back these levels can actually play. So we've got a nice strong level here for you guys. Okay, so right here, right, we have support, resistance, and potential resistance right here. Okay, now this is in May. So if we go back, right, we can see we had support here in March. We had resistance here in February, right? This is probably wicks right here, right? So we had resistance here in February. Okay, January we had resistance as well. End of December we had support. Right, keep going back. Look at this right here, guys, right? August of the year before we had support here. Okay, so sometimes these are going to happen at psychological levels, and actually if we look right here, this is a psychological level right here, guys. Right, it's right about at that 110. Right, so this is kind of that zone, that area right here. It's 110.000. Okay, so these levels can be, just reading the chat here, big psychological levels. Round numbers like this, especially with the Japanese yen, okay, it can be major psychological levels. They can be treated as support and resistance as well. Focusing on breaking out of structure, mostly flight patterns, sending when it's descending for the most part, go negative for a few hours and go the direction that I expected. Beelan, what are you? What is your final confirmation? Like, what is your entry trigger? Because it sounds like your analysis is great, but it looks like your entry timing is a little bit off. What are you using for your entry trigger?
Higher production values, because it's something that we've seen in really high-end movies all the time where they do have really expensive gear.
6% profit for the week. That's pretty good, buddy. Right, that's 25% for the month. If you keep that up, that's a good return.
And all the big YouTube channels are HD only. We're talking about not just PewDiePie, but real filmmakers, people like Casey Neistat. Even when camera manufacturers release promos for their new 4K cameras, so they do it just in HD. It's like 4K is one of these things that everybody talks about.
Seeing right now, right, we had that break happening with UJ guys. But again, this is a strong level, right? So look, right now it looks like we're rejecting that level. We're rejecting that level. This right here is why it's important to wait for candles to close. If you would have just jumped in, if you would have said, oh my god, it's breaking, get in, buy, right? You would have gotten faked out right now. An engulfing candle. Is that your only entry? part of what's probably happening is that the move hasn't begun yet, right? It's going to pull back one more time. Can you send me a chart of your entry, and we'll see if we can tweak it a little bit. So now with support and resistance, guys, there's essentially two different things, two different ways that you can use them. Okay, and I'm going to keep this as simple as possible. So let's keep with the same one that we're using here. Right, so with support and resistance, you can either trade the bounce. Why does that move so much? Oh, that's right. Okay, you can either trade the bounce, which is when you're expecting the market to come up, hit it, and bounce off. Okay, so this is the respect. So we're looking for the market to respect the level, or you trade the break. Right now, the break, there's basically two different ways that you can trade it as well. You can wait for a candle to close past it, and this is a very aggressive entry. Right, you wait for a candle to close past it, and then you take an entry. Again, very aggressive. Me personally, I like to wait for the retest. So I like the market to actually break the level, bounce off of it, and then continue up. See a wick pushing off support and resistance, okay. Now, a really nice entry, okay, for the bounce, guys, is one of the things you want to pay attention to is the actual candle close. Okay, so let me find a nice little example for you. Okay, right here, you guys can see we had this resistance. Okay, so right in here alone, this is a really nice example because we have a lot of long wicks, and we also see that right here, there's no candles can close past it, right? The candles cannot and have not closed past it. Okay, so right here we have our first test, second test, right, and then we're starting to go bearish. So right in this point, right at this point right here, this is where it's going to start to look like a really nice sell. Okay, we had a wick, touched this level, couldn't break it, right? Nothing, tried to push down, pushed up another time, closed, couldn't break it, right? Came up, couldn't close past it, now we're starting to go bearish. Okay, if you guys wanted to be extremely conservative, right here would have been a nice sell point. Okay, because we actually have an engulfing here, long wick, and again we have more candles closing past that area. We can even move this line down a little bit too. Right, we can even move it down to right here, where this resistance was. Now, me personally, I put my stop loss a few pips above this. Because even if you took that candle about 9 pips and about 18, so you could have got a nice little 2-to-1 ratio right here. Okay, this could have been a really nice little 2-to-1 ratio right here off this trade alone. Literally, this is just resistance. Okay, pure price action. We're looking at what happened right here. Okay, the market pushed up, created this resistance level. Okay, we're getting wicks. The market cannot close past it. Right, we have no candles that have broken past this. And then if we look at what this candle right here did, this engulfing right here, why this is such a nice entry, is look at what it did. Okay, look at how many candles this one candle closed past. Okay, so basically we're in this little range right here. Okay, it's kind of hard to see, it's very tiny, but if we went down to a smaller time frame, you guys will be able to see it a little bit better. But we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles that were all basically stuck in this range. They couldn't break this. Okay, it created this strong resistance. We have long wicks showing exhaustion. And then we got this nice little engulfing candle here that closed past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles. Okay, this would have been a really, really nice entry. Okay, so this is one example of trading the bounce. Now, essentially, we want to look for basically the same thing that we looked at right here with the break and the retest, except we want the market to move above it, right? So let's see if we can find a better example of this. one's not super clean, but we can see it right here a little bit. I'll see if I can find a better example after. But right here, okay, we had this resistance, right? Market broke it a little bit. No, this is ugly. Let me find a better one. Okay, here we go. Okay, this is a nice example right here. Okay, so right here, market pushing down, we created this support, right? Market tried to break it. This was a fake out right here. This is a perfect example of a fake out, right? Sellers tried to push it down, wasn't enough strength, pushed it right back up. This is why it's important to wait for the retest. Now, essentially, this right here is exactly what we're looking for. Okay, so this would have been a really aggressive entry right here. Okay, if you would have just seen this push down, come up and hit right here, this would have been pretty aggressive. The second candle, you might have gotten an entry off of this. Okay, because now we at least have two, and this is on the 1 hour, right? So we have two 1 hour candles that couldn't close back above this, and the market has started to go bearish again. Overall, right now, we are in a small bearish trend, right? The market's making lower lows and lower highs. So we broke this support right here. Okay, we broke it. We retested it. This candle couldn't close above, and this candle couldn't close above as well. Okay, now, if you didn't get this entry over here, okay, and this is a little bit more advanced, so kind of put this in your book for now, guys. Some of my regulars that might be a little bit more advanced, this might be better for you. When we see that we have all of these candles, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, okay, before this one, 9 candles that close below this level, okay, this is now becoming a high probability that the market is going to respect this. So if you saw the market coming up and making this wick around this area, you could have gotten a wick entry in here. Okay, this is advanced. I don't recommend you guys do this as beginners, okay, but just kind of plant this seed for now, right? When we start to see how many of these candles that close below this level, right, couldn't break it, if we did miss our entry, we might have been able to get a sniper entry in here, okay? Like I said, this is more advanced. This takes an advanced eye to analyze this and see what's happening. We might be able to see something better on the lower time frame. So let's just go down to the 30-minute here. Yeah, this might have been a little bit nicer on the 30-minute. Okay, even this candle close, right? If you would have waited for this candle to close, had the wick, then we had to close here, right? Try to make one more push, basically making a little double top right here, right? We have a little peak and a little peak. Super ugly. Okay, you could have caught an entry in there. Again, really advanced. But I think Beelan, this is basically what you were saying about one of your entry points. Okay, now they say, generally speaking, you want to look for at least 3 touches on support and resistance. There's some different intricacies with it. It depends on the time frame you're looking at. And I mean, right here, for example, right, we have at least 3 touches. This is a small support level right here, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6 touches right here. This is a true support level, okay? The market held true to support right here, and we can tell that this was validated right here by it treating it as resistance as well. Okay, it looks a little bit different on the higher time frame. And here, this is another thing I want you guys to notice too, is do you see how much better the 1 hour respected versus the 30-minute? Because if I drew this down on the 30-minute, right, this isn't quite as clear. It is still nice, where we had a little bit of a fake out here, right? Rejection, rejection. Again, on the 30-minute, if you're using a smaller time frame, you could have gotten a wick entry off this one as well. Or, even right here, right? This would have been a nice entry here too. Because again, look at this engulfing. Look what this engulfing right here is doing. Right? It's closing past 1, 2, 3 candles. 4 candles almost. Okay. Hey Linus, how you doing? Long time no see. Okay, so do you guys have any questions so far about support and resistance? I want to spend a good portion of time on it today. A lot of the time people ask me how I trade, and I literally keep things as simple as possible, guys. This is what I do. I use support and resistance. I look for key areas. I wait for a break. I wait for a retest, and I wait for confirmation. Simple, simple. No indicators. No baloney. Just clean, easy charts. Right, so, okay, right here. Here's another nice example of a bounce. Right, market came up, made this nice little resistance here. We kind of entered into a little bit of a range here. Okay, guys, typically, the longer the consolidation, the stronger the move's going to be. And you guys can see how beautiful this was. Okay, so right here, we had that resistance. Came up again, made a nice long wick. Candles cannot close past it, have not closed past it. I probably would have waited for this bearish signal right here. Okay, set my stop loss just above this resistance level here. Okay, and you guys can see that we could have ridden this down. That was about 7 pip stop loss. You could have rid this down for nearly 40 pips, 42 pips. Okay, I'm not as fond of a bounce as I am a break and a retest because I personally like trading with market momentum. So what I do is when I'm looking at a trade, I do my top-down analysis, right? So I start on the daily and I look. So for example, if I was going to trade the Tokyo session right now, I start on the daily. Okay, what's happening? Overall, we were in a bearish move, but it looks like we're starting to go bullish, right? The last 2 daily candles have been bullish. 4 hour, okay, the last candle was bullish. Right now we're bearish. Okay, but again, we're at this major psychological level here, okay? 1 hour was bullish. Now we're going bearish. 30-minute bearish. 15-minute is definitely bearish. So other than the daily, right, on the smaller time frames, the 4 hour, the 1 hour, the 30-minute, and the 15-minute have all gone to bearish. And again, if you guys remember when we were first on this session, when I saw this breakout, that's why I said, guys, it's good to wait for a retest. Now, if this candle closes above this level and we get a strong little bearish candle right here, right, that closes above this level, this could still be a nice buy. If this candle closes back down below this, okay, this might be a fake out. And what you could look for, right, is again, basically the retest. The market broke off of this level, broke out of this level, but now it's pushing back in. So if this is a fake out, I would wait for it to retest this again as resistance, then look for the sell. Okay? But right now, we don't have enough information to get into a trade. We need to wait for a candle close. And because overall we have been bullish and the daily is bullish, I would be waiting for at least an hour candle to close bearish before I look for a sell. And I mean, even on the 30-minute and the 15 here, if we look, right, we're going to need a few more candles before we get that retest anyways. So if it does break down, retest this in a few candles, that will give us this 1 hour bearish candle, which will be a little bit more confirmation. The 4 hour this one just closed about 26 minutes ago. So this candle has just begun its creation point. Okay. Again, really strong level here, right? We have resistance, 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 attempting. This might be resistance. If it breaks, we have like no traffic. This could absolutely fly. There's a tiny bit of traffic right here. Okay. And then basically we have a huge range. Okay, so I've been going on for a little bit here, guys. I just want to kind of pause and reflect. Does anyone have any questions so far? Have I lost anybody? Is everything making sense? How's everybody doing? Give me some feedback, guys. Chat is super quiet tonight. Looks like we have quite a few people on tonight, too. Can you guys hear the music in the background? Yeah, you're building up the chart. Yeah, Beelan, that was a really nice entry. That wick entry, that was really nice. Closed above. I'm assuming you used a lower time frame for entry. I'm showing the hourly here. Very nice trade. It looks now, too, that it's retesting that support that it made on the 1 hour. And it might continue back down. Hopefully your stop is moved into profit. And it's a risk-free trade at this point. Good stuff. Right on. Hamida? Probably butchered your name. Late to cast, trying to catch up. No questions yet. Awesome. Gittins, Natasha. Good night, Natasha. Just gonna give you guys a minute here. We have a little bit of a lag between the stream and the chat, so. Beelan, you can't hear me? Everybody else hear me okay? Good evening, everybody. Good evening, good evening. Hamida. Okay, I got it. Hearing me well. Okay, good. Okay, so do you guys want some more examples here? You guys want to go through more examples? Is there anything else that you guys want to go through? Yes, you hear me good? Okay, awesome. Thank you for letting me know, guys. Okay, so I'm assuming yes, you guys want more examples? Is that what the yes is for? If you guys want me to go through some more examples, just like drop a 1 in the chat so I know. What's up, Manny? How you doing? Welcome, Manny. Welcome. Hope you're enjoying the session so far. Some more examples, okay. Alright, let's go on a lower time frame. Me personally, I like the 30-minute charts. I use the 30-minute a lot. Yes, okay, yeah, everybody wants some more examples, okay. Alright, see if we can find a nice little break and retest here. This one's pretty nice right here. Yeah, 1's right on, guys, okay. Looks like we have quite a bit of a lag here. But that's okay, we'll make the best out of it. Okay, so right here, okay guys, we can see the market's making a little bit of support right here. Okay, trying to break it again. Finally does break down below it. This one's not as clean because we only have 1, 2, 3 candles before it. But this nice engulfing candle right here, this is the reason why I like this one, is if you guys look, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 candles, right? Well, 8 candles basically that's closed below. So this mini support that it made right here as well, this candle is now also breaking that support, right? If we go down to the lower time frame, this one right here kissed it, right? We had that little break, that little retest, kissed it, and started to drop again. Okay, so this is why I like this example here. This one's not quite as clean. You can hear me now? Right on. Okay, cool. Alright, glad you're doing the session, man. Glad you're enjoying it. See if we can find another example for you guys. I really like break and retests. The balances, if there's a lot of rejection, like right here, okay, it's a pretty good example as well. The market came up, it hit, right? You're starting to get some long wicks, nice bearish engulfing. This one here might have taken us out, right? If we were to place this just above, it's pretty close. Depending on how you put your stop loss, we might have gotten faked out here, right? But overall, this was a nice sell. Probably with this one, with the bounces, I like to wait for a little bit more confirmation. Like I'd wait for a bearish candle. Whereas with the break and the retest, I want to try to get my entry as close to the zone as possible, right? I want to keep that stop loss as tight as possible because then I can maximize my profits, right? Using proper risk management, of course. Super choppy there, super ugly. Let me find a nice example here. Retest. Nope. Okay, over here, this one's not quite as clean. We did have this fake out. Right here, we didn't get the retest, so we didn't actually validate, right, this break. So we had our support right here. Excuse me. We had our support right here, right? We had a nice little fake out right here. Okay, and then the market did break down above, tried to break up above. Now remember, this is an exact line I've drawn here, right? This is more of a zone like this, okay? So we look at it as more of a bit of a zone, right? Because nothing is perfectly precise in the markets, guys. Nothing is perfectly precise, okay? Tried to break it, couldn't break above it, right? Second test, nice little wick right here. This right here, I probably would have entered off of this, guys. If I saw this coming up, making this wick, and it couldn't break past right there, I probably would have entered right there. Could have caught a really nice entry, right? Put our stop loss just a few pips above. So off this right here, this would have been about a 5 pip stop loss. And you could have got a 2-to-1 here, right? Easy 2-to-1. This is UJ. It moves really, really slow. I prefer the GBP, right? I prefer the GBP pairs because, you know, a trade like this, you'd be bagging like 15 to 30 pips, whereas with UJ here, you're going to catch like 10 to 15. This one is a really nice, clean example though, right? So we had the bounce here, right? Fake out rejection here, the break, retest, rejection, nice sell here. You guys could have held it, right? You guys would have been brave. You could have held it. Maybe would have gotten wicked out depending on what the spread was doing. Okay, if you held it that long, and then look what happened, it just dropped. Now, one thing you can do is leave a runner, basically, right? So, either if you guys have multiple orders open, okay, you close one. Once you've hit that 2-to-1 ratio, you might as well close. Like, take the money that the market has given you. Because if you start getting super greedy, it's, you know, this is one of those examples where, you know, let's say we put our stop loss a little bit tighter even. We probably wouldn't have. This is only 5 pips. We probably would have given it a little bit of breathing room. But just for hypothetical example, come here, you little bugger. Okay, let's just say that we put this a little bit tighter, right? Depending on spread, if we would have held this, if we wouldn't have taken our 2-to-1, this would have been more than a 2-to-1 now, right? Because this is only about 4 pips right here, right? So this is 10. This is more than a 2-to-1. It's like a 2.5 to 1. So if we wouldn't have closed out here, if we would have held for more pips, the market pulled up here, okay, this spread might have taken us out, right? This is just about a pip. So depending on what your spread is, what your broker is, the spread might have pushed this stop loss and it might have taken you out. When you had a 2-to-1, let's say you risked 3%, right? 3%, that means that 6%, you had 6% right here that you could have closed out, walked away, and smiled all day. But because you held it, you were trying to catch a big move, right? You may have been taken out here when the market retested the zone again. So now, if you guys do want to try to catch a little bit more of the move, what I recommend is you either close part of your trade out in profit, okay, or you use multiple, right? Maybe do 2 orders, and then you close one out when you've reached your goal, and then you move the other one to break even, and you let it ride. Now, of course, this one, it would have hit out on break even, but obviously you see the potential there. Now, a lot of people don't know how to do this. I want to show you guys real quick. Let me actually just keep this spot. So let's just, for the fun of it, take a buy. Okay? So, once you're in the buy, right, once you're in whatever, you have your order open, if you guys go to modify here, okay, you actually change it to market execution. So you're actually looking, right, oh, I gotta do a bigger order. Hold on. 1 second. It's 2.2. Okay, so you come here, go to modify, then you go to market execution, you change the volume to how much you want to close, right? So if you want to close 1, let's say you want to close half of this, and then you want to let the other half ride, you just change how much volume you want to close, right? And then don't click these. Right, you actually click close, and then watch what happens. See the size right here? Right, you close this, boink, see? So now we've closed half of that position. And then what you do is once you've done that, then of course you modify again, you change your stop loss, so you're at break even, and then you can let it ride as long as you want, right? Because then at that point, that trade is now risk-free, right? You don't have to worry. There's no stress, nothing. You just let it ride. As soon as you feel you've had enough profits, you take your profits, you say your graces, and you're done for the day, right? You're done for the week, whatever it is the case. Okay, so a really powerful thing to do, guys. Really handy as well. Especially in the beginning when you guys are trying to learn to lock in that greed, right? When you're trying to control that greed, because if you guys haven't experienced it yet, I promise you will. The greed will try to get you. And this game of Forex, guys, it all comes down to discipline. It's all mentality. Okay, so right here, not a perfect example, but we had a resistance here. The market broke it. We had a nice little wick fill right here, right? So we had these wicks. Market broke, right? Came back down, retested it. If you weren't comfortable there, right, you could have waited for this entry right here. Right, now we're going bullish. Market tested again. Not once, but twice we have touches. Okay, you could have entered off this candle. Excuse me. For those of you guys who are even more conservative, right, you could have waited for this nice engulfing candlestick right here. Okay, wouldn't have been as nice of an entry. Probably would have set my stop loss at least below the low of this one, back at the bottom of the zone. So this would have been, about a 4 or 5 pip stop loss. Okay, and then we see that obviously in hindsight, we can see that this would have been an absolutely beautiful trade. We could have caught like a 4-to-1, 5-to-1 ratio, but, right, just hypothetical situation. So this is why I say, guys, it's really important to pay attention to where the candle closes, okay? Because right here, right, we have one candle. This would have been a really aggressive entry, right? Broke it, retested it, candle closed above. The second candle, now probability is going up a little bit, right? Probability is going up because now we have 2 candles that have closed above it. We have bullish momentum. We've broken this resistance zone. Okay, we've retested it. We have 2 candles closing above it. This third candle is increased probability, but it's also lowered the risk to reward ratio. Because one thing to keep in mind, guys, when you're trading these is of course, there's nothing here to show you guys the range. Yeah, there was no range here. Typically what we're looking for is a range, right? in how far this trade's going to go before it hits the next resistance level, right? So right here, you guys can see that this basically, from this level here to this level here, this is the range, okay? So, of course, this example, we don't have it, but typically, right, a level that was here before this, we would expect something like this here as well, right? So this is the range, and the range is really advantageous to use when you're setting your take profits and your stop losses, because the range is basically what we're trading when we're trading support and resistance, right? Let me find another example for you here. Okay, here, this is a nice little example right here. Let me get rid of this. Okay, so right here we had this resistance, right? And then we broke the resistance, retested it, right? So 1, 2, you could have caught a nice entry right here, right? Right on this candle close. This would have been aggressive. Again, this is a little bit more of an advanced entry. But basically, guys, the range that you're going to be looking at is right here. Okay, because, and you can see that the market did respect it here, right? Where it's having trouble breaking past it. And obviously, this was a big move. This probably was a news candle. But that would have been our range, which, I mean, even still, this is nice, 11 pips, right? If we would have put it just below here, it would have been, 5 or 6 pips. We could have almost gotten a 2-to-1 ratio right in there. So this is what I mean by the range, in that when you're looking for your stops, right, or your targets, it's important to look left and look at the range. What is the range we have here? Now, if the range isn't good enough, if there's not enough space for the trade, right? If there's not enough space for the market to go in order to get a nice target, in order to get good profits, I'm not even going to take the trade, right? This one is pretty tight. I'm not going to lie, guys. This range, I might not have taken it just because this range is tight, even though, of course, in hindsight, we see that it would have absolutely been a beautiful trade. There would have been little to no drawdown at all. Let's see if we can find another example. Hold on. Okay, this isn't the best example because there wasn't a whole lot for confirmation, but, okay, we had resistance here, fake out. Again, resistance right here, right? So resistance here, okay, support. We created another support level, then we broke it, we retested it, candle couldn't close above, we went bearish. So, not, like I said, not the cleanest example, but we could have got our entry right here. Now, where's our range going to be? Right? It's going to be at this next resistance level right here. So if we look, right, we want to set our stop loss above this one. So it'd probably be, 10, 11 pips. What's our range here? 10 to 11 pips. So this one's kind of in that, do we take the trade, right? I mean, a 1-to-1 is still a good trade. Okay, you're at least going to make what you're risking. Me personally, I like to look for like a 1.5 to a 2-to-1. But I mean, the potential's still here. Okay, but this is a really good example here of the range. Okay, we had a nice break, retest. Okay, a little bit of confirmation. This was aggressive if we would have taken it. But right here, this is where I probably would have taken profits. And you guys can see why. I mean, even though we did continue down, right, the market reacted at this level. So there is the possibility that the market would have just come right down, hit this level, and then possibly continued up. So this is why it's good to set your targets before the end of the range, right? Setting your targets within that range. Let's do some more examples. If you guys have any questions, throw them in the chat as we're going. See if I can find a nice little example here of a good range for you guys. Not the cleanest example, but we have a good little range right here as well. So we had our resistance, support, right? Fake out, respect, So after this little fake out, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? A bunch of candles. We have one more retest. Okay. Honestly, I'm a bit aggressive myself. I probably would have traded off this close. Okay, but let's just say, for sake, we were a little bit more conservative and we traded off this close. So I'd want my stop at least below this candle. Try to put it as tight as possible. Below this candle. Okay, again, this wouldn't have been the best range, right? We had about 10 pip stop loss and about a 13 pip target. So, again, not the best range. Let's see if we can find another example. Actually, let's see if we can do a bounce off this one. So, right here, we have a strong resistance, okay? Our next level of support is right down here. Okay, so if we were looking for sells, this is all choppy, this is garbage, right? I probably wouldn't have traded any of this, but right here, this is starting to look a little bit interesting, right? So if we started to see a lot of these wicks, we're seeing candle closing low, right? We could have looked for an entry somewhere in here. Now, an advanced trader might have gotten a decent range if you could have gotten one of these wick entries, right? 15 pips to 6 or 7. But an amateur, right, or an intermediate probably would have waited for one of these closes. Probably this bearish one right here. So we're looking at, a 10 to 12 pip stop, and we only got about 7 pips before this next level. Now again, you guys can see basically what happened here. This one did push down, it broke past it, and then shot back up. Okay, not the cleanest examples, but I hope you guys are getting the picture here. Yankee, it depends on what you are as a trader. Me personally, I use the 1 hour and the 30 minutes to look for my levels, but I'll get my confirmation sometimes on the 15, but mostly on the 30, right? So I'm more likely to use the 1 hour for drawing these support and resistance levels, right? And then I'll use the 30-minute for entry, sometimes the 15 depending. But I'm also using the higher time frames as confluence, right? If the daily and the 4 hour are both saying bullish, I'm not going to be looking for a sell on the 30-minute or the 1 hour. Now, me, I only trade break and retests, right? Very seldom I will trade the bounce, right, a rejection. But I'm mostly a break and retest trader. Now, these do work for scalping as well, right? You can use this for scalping. The only thing is, the lower down you go on these time frames, the less accurate the information is, right? The less reliable it is. Now, again, you guys can see that you can get scalp entries, right? Especially with a pair like UJ on the 30-minute, right? So right here, that's not the best example. But you guys saw the examples where the stop loss is only like 5 pips, right? So that's a scalp entry. 5 pip stop loss, you're only looking for 5, maybe 10 pips, right? And the lower the time frame you guys are going on, the less of a risk to reward ratio you're likely to get, right? Can you show us another day to do scalping? I'm not sure. Yeah, that's very good. I'm not sure I'm understanding what you want me to show you, Yankee. What do you guys think of this music? I just found it a few weeks ago. It's called Chill Hop. It's so relaxing to me. It just kind of puts me in that, focused state of mind. It breaks up the silence a little bit too. It's the first time I've had any music playing on the sessions. So give me some feedback. What do you guys think? You guys like a little bit of background noise, a little bit of music? It's nice, relaxing, kind of chill. See if I can find another example for you guys. Did we use this example before? This one looks way too familiar. Let's go way back. Yeah, thanks, man. Honestly, I just try to keep it as simple as possible. I remember when I first started learning how to trade, going through baby pips, and one of the things that stuck out to me was the KISS acronym, right? Keep it simple, stupid. Why overcomplicate it? Trading is simple. Trading is really simple. Is it easy? No, I wouldn't say that, but it's simple. Once you guys understand technical analysis, it's simple. Once you guys understand technical analysis, it comes down to a mind game. Music is soothing to the ear and mind. Perfect, perfect. I like it. Why do you keep jumping around on me? Let me find another example, a little cleaner one. This one's nice. This one's really nice. So, right here, okay, we had our support. We got our true resistance right here. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3 candles, and also 3 wick rejection right here. Even this one, even if you waited for this one right here and entered right off this, you would have been super happy. If you would have entered right off that and you saw that market drop, oh, you would have been happy, right? So I would have set my stop, again, just a few pips above this zone here. Okay, and this is right here. This is a scalp entry, right? 6 pip. You could have even probably made this a little bit tighter and done a 5 pip, right? So off this candle here, right? About a 5 pip, and then this is our range, right? Look at the range here. Okay, so 5 pip stop loss. This is a really nice entry, right? 5 pip stop loss, 20 pip range. And I mean, you would have been laughing. And right here, this right here, this is an example. This is why I always say to set your target before the end of the range. Because see what happened here? The market came close to it, came up, and it would have stopped you low. This would have stopped you low, right? So I set the range, you guys can see on the candle closes, right? Candle closes, that's my range. Okay, now, again, we set our target right before it, because look what happened. We would have crushed that target, or if it would have been, below or even at that level, right? We would have just kissed it, would have just missed it, came back up and taken all your money. You would have been so mad. You would have been steaming at the ears if this would have happened. Guys, I've had this happen. I can't tell you how many times I've had this happen. This was a hard lesson I had to learn for myself. Okay, so learn from my mistakes. Set your target a little bit before the end of that range. Like, what is a couple pips right here? What is a couple pips? Guaranteed money, right? It's like, why wouldn't you take the guaranteed money? That right there, that is where that greed is going to come in. If you guys can curb that greed, you're going to make so much more money. And honestly, guys, I can't tell you how many times that, I'd be in a trade like this, and as soon as I start to feel a little bit uncomfortable, right? If for whatever reason, let's see if I can just find something small. No, this totally just moved. But let's say, somewhere in this area, the market started to do something kind of funky, something that I just didn't feel comfortable in the trade anymore. I'd either move my stop loss to break even, or I'd just close it. I'd take my profits and walk away for the day. Go do whatever else I have planned for the day, right? I've been entering late. See, yeah, Beelan, this is what I was trying to show you, right? And this is what I was telling you the other day when I was talking about keep in mind where these candle closes, right? So I kind of planted a seed for you, and now I think we're starting to see it flourish a little bit. Yeah, me too. This is exactly what I like to listen to when I'm trading. Just nice, mellow, relaxing, happy, upbeat, right? I want to leave you guys with one thing, kind of on the note of mindset, okay? I can leave you guys with something that one of my mentors taught me, okay? And this is why I always try to get myself into a good mental state before I trade. Okay, so hypothetical situation. Let's say we hopped on a webinar this morning, okay? And before all you guys went off to work, I told you guys, okay, I'm giving you guys one task for the day. What I want you to do is I want you to count all the white cars that you see on your way to work. Okay? So everybody went to work, they counted all the white cars, and they came back, and I said, okay, cool, how many white cars did everybody see? You know, and I saw 5, I saw 8, I saw 10, whatever. So, okay, great. How many blue cars did you see? Well, I don't know. I wasn't looking for blue cars. I was looking for white cars. Okay? The way that our brains work is whatever our conscious brain is focused on, our subconscious brain will create that for us, right? So whatever the task is that we give, that the conscious brain is focused on, the subconscious will go to work. So why I'm relating this to training is that if you wake up grumpy, miserable, you stub your toe out of bed, you know, you spill your coffee, you're cranky, you're not in a good mood, and your subconscious is focused on this. I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off. Your subconscious is going to give you what your conscious brain is focused on. It's going to give you more things to be pissed off about. Therefore, you're going to look for wrong traits, right? So you need to get into the victory mindset, right? Think victory, get victory. Okay? You think about defeat. If you're thinking that, oh, I'm going to lose my trade today. Oh, I'm pissed off. I'm probably going to lose my trade today. What are you going to get? You're going to end up with that losing trade. I know it sounds very law of attraction, and it is, but at the same time, this is also how our brains are wired, right? The subconscious will put to work what the conscious brain is focused on. So, really important, guys, to be in a good mindset when you're trading. And on that note, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end the session. So I just want to say I appreciate everybody for hopping on and being interactive. I hope you guys enjoyed the session and got a bunch of value out of it. I will be back on Tuesday at the same time, Tuesday, Thursday next week at 9 p.m. Eastern. So have a wonderful weekend, guys. For those of you in Canada, have a wonderful long weekend. And I will see you all on Tuesday. Take care, guys.
On the back of the DI box is an XLR cable, and that can go into the desk, or into a house stand, or into the PA system. You can use something like this, which is a XLR splitter, that can go into the output of the DI box, and one of these can go into the desk, and another one can go into a recording device. But you'll still be connected by this to a bass amp, and you can mic the bass amp up too. There are lots of options, but it does take through the buttons on the back. You can mic it up a bass amp as well as going through a DI box. So what is the difference between a USB mixer and a USB audio interface? Well, in this video, we're going to take a look at what the key differences are and help you decide which one you should consider in your home studio setup. Let's go. I'm going to speak. This is Studio Live today, where I help you create, record, and release your best music. And if you are recording music, you will need some sort of device that you can plug in your guitars, your microphone, or your audio devices to actually record those sounds, and then connect that to your digital audio workstation on your Mac, your PC, your iPhone, or your iPad. So, in this video, we're going to take a look at the two main devices that you need to consider here, which is your audio interface and your mixer. Let's take a look now. Now, we're going to go through this fairly quickly, but I've got a heap of links down in the description to complete reviews and a lot more information about USB audio interfaces and mixers, and also a bunch of links to where you can actually purchase some of the devices that I talk about here. And those are affiliate links here supporting the channel as well as getting some cool media. So, we'll start with the simpler of the two devices, which is a USB audio interface. So, what an audio interface does, it takes a signal, an analog signal, a microphone, or a line level signal from a guitar or instrument, and then it outputs it via USB. So, you can plug this into your Mac, your PC, your iPad, your iPhone, and then you plug your analog source in here, you got the analog to digital conversion, and then you record that sound on your DAW into your Mac, PC, or your device. So, this is a really simple interface and a really simple device for getting started. So, if you're new to home studio music recording, I'm always going to recommend you picking up an audio interface. This is the Steinberg UR12, which has two channels. So, it's got a microphone preamp here, a very nice microphone preamp, and it's got an input here for a quarter inch high Z jack there. You've got your separate knobs here regarding your gain, and then your output gain, and that is it. So, your audio interfaces are a very simple device, and the point of these is to just get a really nice clean signal into your DAW, your digital audio workstation, and then do the manipulation afterwards. You can add EQ or any sort of compression or any sort of effects. You bring that all when you actually record your sound in. Now, as I mentioned, this is two channels, so it's actually got two different inputs here, which means you can record two tracks simultaneously using this device. If you use something like this one back here, which is the Steinberg UR44, which has 4 channels, then you're actually going to get 4 channels of audio to manipulate at the other end. So if you record in your digital audio workstation, you're going to be able to separate it down to 4 channels. So we've got like 2 microphones and 2 guitars. You can record all 4 of those at the same time. On a drum kit, you can mic up the 4 different microphones and record them, and then you can actually manipulate those independently. And that's the key thing to remember for when you start talking about a mixer. An interface, if you have however many inputs you have, usually the same number of channels can actually be recorded. So if you've got 8 inputs, then you have 8 channels. 12 inputs, you have 12 channels. So you've got a big drum kit, like 12 channel audio interface, they're reasonably expensive, but then you can actually record your whole drum kit at once with a whole bunch of microphones, and then mix them all independently afterwards, which is different to our mixer and how that works, which we will dive into right now. Okay, let's talk mixers. This is my Samson Mix Pad, which is an analog mixer that does also connect my USB. Now, the key difference that we're going to cut to the chase here is that all mixers, or almost all mixers, especially at the sort of consumer level,
stereo. So I could look up an iPad to one, an iPhone to another, two microphones here, two guitars here. It's still only going to export or output that one stereo file. So why would you have a mixer over an audio interface given that you can still only actually record like two channels, just like you can in this Songbird on this one, especially considering that the prices are about on par. The quality to input interface is about the same. It's probably a little bit more expensive because it has a few more features. And what are those features? Let's talk about that now. So you notice here that yes, we've got a whole lot more we can do here. So the key difference is that we can adjust our EQ. So we can actually adjust the EQ of what we're recording. We can pan, we can make a compressor on here. We've even got some digital effects on this particular unit that we can use to actually record our sound. So one thing that mixer over the interface will primarily is doing live music or live performances. So I use mixing for my PA out thing, I do it, hockey, I use a mixer for that. And then I bought this one particularly because I want to start doing live acoustic sets. My guitar, my microphone, even an iPad or iPhone if I want to have an accompaniment, and then actually mix that down to one stereo track, like, and then send out for PA. And even then, connected by USB, record stereo signal on my performance at the same time. So they're the key reasons. Also great for streaming. So if you're doing your Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitch, any sort of live streaming, or even podcasting, or podcasting, you might want to separate out the audio, but definitely anything streaming, then having something like this is great because you can plug everything in, get all your levels dialed in, get you sound good, and then when you're streaming live, you can do all that on the fly. You don't have to run the volume on the vocal, not much you compress a little bit. Your sound needs to be cranky on the guitar, drop down the EQ on the top end. So that's why you would do something like this over this. So if you're getting into recording, definitely recommend that audio interface like this one that you have from. If you plan to record but also would like to do a lot more live work or streaming, something like a mixer would be a better option for you because you're going to get a whole bunch more flexibility out of it. Again, that key difference is that you're not going to get all of the control over all of the channels. You're only going to get stereo and mixer. You're not going to get interface. You're generally going to get however many channels you have input for. So there you go. I hope this helps explain the key differences between a USB mixer and USB audio interface. And as I mentioned, there's some links to other videos where I go into more detail about the Samsung Mixpad, the Songbird UX12, and a whole bunch of other related videos as well down below, as well as links to where you can actually pick up these devices if you're looking to add a new interface or mixer to your home studio setup. Thanks again for watching. Want to let us know what devices you're using to already recording at home.
They've already been working on all the representer songs and sermon and even some of the lighting at home, but it's a little tough to really get a real feel of what it looks like until you actually get in the space. So what they do is they come in and put it up on the screen and actually have the lights go on with the haze so you get a feel for it for Sunday service.
Welcome to Worship Hangout. My name is Jay. I'm so glad you're here because we're going to go behind the scenes today at Piedmont Chapel. We're going to hang out with Kendall and just kind of take a look around behind the scenes of what it takes to make Piedmont Chapel happen. Now, what's so significant about this is they have to take this high school auditorium and lobby and actually transform it into a church every single weekend and put it all back away on Sunday afternoon. What's up, man? What's up, man? This is Kendall. Hey, can you show us around? Yeah, awesome. Let's go inside. You walk through here. You can actually see this is our main lobby area. It's kind of a cool area. That's central. So every time someone comes in, something we have every week is we have free t-shirt for them. Okay. We just got these. And so what's cool is not only does a new guest get this, but every bringer will get a shirt. Really? Yeah. So you bring a friend, you go get shirts, and this is a hallway, right? That's right. You have lockers on here, and lockers, pretty much just we put items right everywhere just to, we only want you to see with us, right? You know, we kind of just kind of mask off everything that's not our church. So trophy cases and offices, bathrooms are all masked off. Yeah. I even like how you did the restroom signs and. We love this hallway because without all of the banners, it's all trophy cases. Yeah. It's cool. It's cool. Right. You got right. Yeah, I love that you transformed. I mean, when you walk in, this is Piedmont Chapel. This is not where the name of school is. Right. This is like that's incredible. This is what we call Team Central. Okay. So we call our volunteers team members. Okay. Every Sunday morning, our team comes down, we do breakfast. Okay. I've got Scotch tables on. That's right. Something that is cool is we have this over here. And actually, this is true. So this Sunday, we're celebrating 900 people that make decisions about Jesus. And our church is incredible. And it's just, this is about Jesus. Really amazing. Guess we're going to there. How much of this, but it's kind of interesting that, we have to go through what we believe is probably the messiest storage area. And kind of like book storage. All of the algebra. You left it here. Chemistry. Yeah. You go. I know all that. I'm done with high school. I know all that stuff. So we're going to get through all that. We're going to have to go through it. Schools in the auditorium sound. Okay. And so we're able to come in and we actually leave some of our stuff in place for a week. And so I mean, that's a huge help to being semi-portable. Right. And so yeah, we've got everything up here from video to lighting and our streaming down up here as well. So here we run pretty much all that kind of gear for our recording and streaming. And you can see we've got our whole video here. Okay. And the film monitor all plugged into the AM2 Okay. And so we're using the Blackmagic software to be able to control the cameras on Sundays to record to solid state drive using the HyperDeck. Okay. And then we have to use the HyperDeck shuttle to be able to do a thing to record a separate recording without any of the titles and stuff. Okay. And then we stream using a Fire Deck. We actually stream to YouTube. Okay. It's amazing because it's free. They've been working for us for 3+ years. Right. So we really like that. And this little device makes it easy. We don't have a computer or anything. That's why we always do that. Alright, so what do we run on screen? So we run for minutes. Okay. We do all that if we want. Of course, background and all built in. We love running CMG. Like those, we're able to, as a leader, it's really good to be able to say, okay, we use CMG and out and we're able to team members and actually make decisions of which background we're going to use. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, pretty much on Sunday, supposed to have the same look as the previous week. We're able to switch it all the time. Just being completely transparent here, CMG has partnered up with us at Worship Hangout, and they're sponsoring this video. So I'm going to let you take a look at Church Motion Graphics make it quick and easy for your worship ministry to look great. Every month, CMG releases eye-catching screen visuals like the ones you see behind me that are specifically designed to look great in churches. They're perfect for worship lyrics, announcement slides, sermon presentations, and really anywhere in your church that can benefit from a fresh look. The best part is CMG is affordable. They have packages that work with any budget. With their premium subscription, not only will you receive new worship backgrounds every month, you also gain access to thousands of motion backgrounds, sermon and announcement templates, social media, graphics, and so much more. Go visit churchmotiongraphics.com, enter the code WLH, get $15 off your premium yearly subscription. That's churchmotiongraphics.com, our favorite resource for church visuals.
Yes, so another thing that just so we love up here is we actually got these wireless comm systems.
Ultralight by eartech, wireless comms.
What's really neat about that is all of our production team wears those, and we actually have our click and our VP ran into that. So whether you're running ProPresenter or lights, whatever, you can get all those commands and be able to go and travel with the worship team, even if they go on.
Pretty comfortable. I'm just going to leave it on for the rest of the day.
That's right.
Oh, that's just
yeah, it does kind of look like that. A lot. Ryan, Jams Festival. What we really like about Jams is that,
you know, like talking about a hand or something.
Right. It's really customizable. We didn't know anything before we launched. We knew nothing about the lighting world. Yeah. And we were able to take Jams and look,
just when time we were able to build, and now we just feel like everything comes back to it.
You don't need an actual board. You're only on top.
That's right. Of course, they have boards. Yeah, we've been able to get by with this. We design that in place, and schools can use that as well. And we, we're able to use server keys and everything with just a computer. What we are is we actually plug into the school's lighting system.
Yeah.
And so rather than having to come up with some kind of solution for house lighting or something like that, we're able to control theirs plus all of ours. Right. So we're on X32, having this X32, and like I said, the actual console is we have to use for our online.
This console's for the online.
Yes.
And you said you're running the rack now.
That's right. That's right. X32 rack. Which is just amazing. We're able to take all that.
Right. And run your iPad with that.
But, I mean, before we just started doing our online next probably a month and a half ago, we just got that and started adding that to our setup. But yeah, before that, we just realized that our sound engineer, he was always from iPad, always down on the floor, was always coming up here for small tweaks. So really, also, look at the number up here with the headphones and yeah.
This console makes it for online. Right. And it's actually kind of good that he's up here closed off a little bit for us. For sure. Hear too much of what's going on.
Yeah, now you just try to work the headphones right over.
When really you would probably get a little booth somewhere.
That's right. And so yeah, that's just part of being portable. You know what I mean? It's a little bit better to do up here, but you just have to make it work with the space that you have. It's worship and we only have a handful of people on staff. And so on Sundays we have almost 200 volunteer team members. And so with that many volunteers, no one has to serve every Sunday. It's we do a lot of attend one, serve one, whether that be come to one gathering and serve the next, or you do a whole Sunday and then the next week take that off. And so it really makes things easy on the volunteers. All right, so I'll show you the outdoor now. So again, being at high school, yeah, it's got about 500 seats in here. During the week, they use this for rehearsals and awards and things like that. But on Sunday, we come here and we transform it. Monitors, we can down there.
Like a side fill?
Yes, mainly for preaching. Okay. That's the only time that we use the actual floor monitors. And then all of our vocalists, they use wireless in-ear sennheisers, and all of the backline actually use E16, so they actually hardline in for their ears. Right. What's cool about these is that we were able to actually mount, these trusses on these rolling caster bases, so we actually built these. Okay. And so on Sunday, our Friday night's going to set up, we can just roll them right in, and got some American DJ, just some cheap bars down the bottom.
Ultra bars. These are the ultra bars?
That's it. Yeah. And these were actually our first lights we ever bought at church. So when we started, these are our first ones on our first stage design, so they hung in there with us for a long time.
That's good. We got some slim bars up here.
That's right. Yeah, these are RGB8, so we ever use that amber sometimes. Yeah. Makes for a cool look, and definitely some taller ones too. Pretty much the same setup. These are Intimidators, 350 bucks. Alright. And then up top, so we got 4 of those on the floor. Okay. And then up top, we got 3 of the Rogue R1s, R2s maybe. Okay. We got 3 of those, and then we have 4 of the Intimidator 255s. 255s in the air, and 355s on the floor. Okay. Be a little bit bigger. Right. So your keyboard setup here? Yeah, we were able to take an old piano, I think it was somebody's grandma or something, sit it on our band. They were like, hey, look at this old piano. So we gutted it, painted it black, and then we were able to just put our keyboards in there. Right, yeah. So anyone able to...
you said there's 2 keyboards that you're running here, and then only one is here right now.
That's right. So we use a small MIDI controller, so we're able to control Ableton with that. Yeah. And then we run the Nord Electro 2 to actually play. Right. So we have no control Ableton to run behind all of the keyboards and all back here, so that we're not in the face of the audience. So this is the brains of the operation back here. It's on our code. So we keep all of our in-ear receivers and mic receivers back here. Okay. So everyone has wireless on the front line, both in-ear and for the microphones. All right.
And does everybody have their own pack on here? That's right.
And so the front line they're able to use we use X32 for it. So they're able to go in with the app and control their own things. Right. So that's we normally have 4 to 5, as many as 6 at times. Okay. So for mics, we use some Beta 87 and Beta 58.
For your capitals. That's right. And then the ULX S4 that's it. Transmitters. That's it. All right.
We've got two of the S16s down here. Okay. That we use
for your board.
That's right.
All right.
So all of our speakers are powered. Okay. And that really helps with portability. Oh, absolutely. Just being able to come in. This is our second location that we've had. So when we were at a movie theater before this, it was helpful there, and we were able to transport that here and make it happen here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that does make a big difference. Sure. Especially important. But these are using the Sade professional.
That's right. And it's it's Amaze and Haze. We've heard called different things. We've actually just been running this.
Somebody will know.
Somebody will know.
Whisper. I like that. This is quiet. It's been running for a while. You can hear the fan. That's right. Because some of them are like a hissing sound. I don't know if you've heard those.
For sure. We've got several different machines, several communities.
Yeah, I like that.
We like this because it comes in kind of a roller case. It's definitely also portable. And this thing is running even during the message, so it hasn't disrupted the past 20 speeds.
So what are you doing as far as the stage design?
I'll show you here. Far away, it's kind of hard to tell. It looks like, are they on or how does that work? What we've done is we've created these PVC frames.
Okay, so these are PVC.
That's right. These spray painted black. And what we're able to do is we're actually attach just Amazon LED tape.
That's right.
Right to the front.
Thanks a lot.
That's right.
Seriously, that.
And LED, the tape goes, it's really affordable. It just creates such a powerful look.
Yeah. And I like how, we saw in setup how you guys were, these are frames that you built, attached to LEDs too, and you have these easy disconnect cabling here. And so that way you can just run all of this, you literally can set up almost like a hybrid radio setup that you just hang from that. So, and these are stored where? These big pieces?
We've got a couple of closets that they give us.
So they're big enough for sets like this?
They're barely big enough, right? We squeeze them in there, but we make it work. So for the stage design, we actually run 2 24-channel decoders. So each strip that you see in the stage design is actually, it really acts as its own picture. You can see each one can be controlled individually, right? Which just makes for a really cool look.
Yeah, you can set up chases and different things that
depending on the song and the moment, you can really get creative with it. So, if you're going to kind of go with an extensive stage design like that LED, it's just a little bit extra to be able to control each one individually. Really good long way.
Okay, I think that's about it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Glad you guys came out.
Absolutely. And it's impressive really to see what all you guys do on a Friday night to get set up. I know you're not doing sound check right now, that kind of stuff, but you're setting up church. I mean, this is not just a pulpit and some chairs, for the deacons. I mean, this is a full modern church setup.
We try to do it with excellence. Really use the tools we have to make it look great, and just do our best to really give these people in this community a great church experience.
Yeah. campus home, but you really do transform this high school into a church. I mean, I guess I was coming in. I knew you would probably. I knew this would look like a building, but I didn't realize the lobby. I was like, yeah, I'll probably put up some stuff, but
You know, we couldn't do it. You know, it's definitely not me doing all of it. We've got 3 team members, 3 volunteers that really, they work really hard to make it look their best. They put their souls into it. I mean, those guys out there, they're passionate about the fighting great. They're passionate about how the cords are ran and things. So, we love that about them.
well, thank you so much for having us, guys. We thank you so much for watching. If you want to know more about Piedmont Chapel, go to
PiedmontChapel.com. Come on Instagram.
Yeah.
Piedmont Chapel.
go follow them. Stay with them. See how they. I mean, because you guys might be. I know you're going into a new school.
For sure. You
Another campus,
can't
new
tell
building.
me
Yeah.
that. Thanks.
Right, go check them out. And thank you again for Church Motion Graphics for sponsoring this video. Go check them out. Links below. And we appreciate you guys so much for watching this video. Remember, great worship leaders are always learning. Let's get out of here, man. It's like,
Hey there, in this video you're going to learn the essentials of church lighting design. Alright, Boomer and I are about to head up to the Lakewood campus of Red Rocks Church. We are going to meet with Mark Ray. Mark is a lighting designer, and he's going to teach us about just the best practices of lighting design for the church and for designing lighting for worship. I love the lighting of Red Rocks Church. I think they always do an excellent job of doing it in a way that's tasteful but not too distracting. And I think there's going to be lots of great principles that you can pull away from this video about how to do light design at your church, even if you're using not a multi-million-dollar lighting system. That's not multi-million, maybe it's like tens of thousands of dollars or something. It's big, because you're going to see these lights and you're like, man, those are so cute, cool, we'll never get them. You can still get budget-friendly lighting. You can still apply these same principles to the lighting system at your church. So, but first things first, we're actually going to go get lunch with Mark, and then we're going to go to church after. So, let's go. Hey, you want to listen to music?
Yeah.
Do you have anything good?
I got church front pads.
Yeah, church front pads. Yeah, let's go. Let's jam out some pads.